Yeah, it's a good question because liberty is a bit more complicated than freedom. KrisAnne Hall does a good job of describing liberty as the equation of freedom plus morality. So freedom plus morality equals liberty. I like to think of it this way. It's very simple. Liberty is better and more powerful than freedom because it comes with responsibility. When I served in the Navy, when we would go to a foreign country and we would get time off of the ship, it was called taking liberty. We were in a foreign country and we were free to look around and see things and visit sites and meet people and eat their food. But we carried a responsibility of being a U.S. citizen, being a member of the U.S. military and representing America. And I was responsible to obey local laws, which may differ from U.S. laws. There are lots of responsibilities that come with liberty. Liberty is also defined by Frederic Bastiat as our ability or our right to work in a society of justice. This is quite interesting. Why is working so important? Notice that Bastiat says it is our right or ability to work. He could have said it's our right or our ability to relax or play or many other things, but he used the term work, and he said that the work could be within a society of justice. So let's first talk about why justice is so important. That can simply be understood as to say that justice can only exist when there is no injustice, or similarly, where there is injustice, justice is also not there. If we do not live in a society of justice, then we are very likely living in a system or a dictatorship or anarchy. So we see that having justice is vital to our safety and security, but we've not explored the why work is so important. Bastiat says that we work in a society of justice. So remember in Nehemiah chapter 4, when they were rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem after the Babylonian exile, they faced threats from other opposition to Jerusalem, so they were instructed to carry in one hand a sword while working with the other. Can you imagine how stressful and unproductive it would be to live in a place with no justice, a place where you have to actively protect yourself as you try to do your work? Who is going to protect your family while you're working in the field or in a factory or in your business? So justice is important, but work is also important. We have a right to work. We are protected by justice while we work. In order to work, we must be free to learn. This leans into the core and central reason for freedom of speech. Learning is our pathway to working. What is the first thing that happens with any new job? You enter a new company and they want to take you through training or some kind of instruction or indoctrination. They may have employed you because of a talent that is not yet expanded to what they need, or maybe you already possess a specialty that they wanted or they needed, but they want to make sure that you operate within the structure of their company and their society within their company. When we successfully learn what we need in a given field, then and only then we can work. Sometimes we can learn things that make our work much easier, or we learn something new or some new information that allows us to change from one sort of work to another, but it's still work. When I was young, I loved to work on cars. I still do, but back then I had to do it for my survival. I grew through my learning so I could do more meaningful work. Today, much of my work is not productive in the sense that I'm building things as I like to do. I still love to build homes and the various things that I do on my ranch, but my work is mostly to help others. God calls us to work. Oftentimes, this is specific and certain to each of us by God's design. Working is our pathway to supporting and controlling the trajectory of our lives. Working is how we protect our family. Working is how we acquire property. One could say that the life that God has given us under His natural rights allows us to have our person, which includes our personality, our personhood, our family, and our ability to grow our family. But it also includes liberty. Remember, our liberty is freedom, but it comes with responsibility. Liberty gives us our right to work. Our need to work drives us to learn and to grow. Our success in our work allows us to obtain and own property and possessions. Our natural rights under God, given by God, give us our person, our liberty, and our property. those combined together. The American way is that way that protects these and allows us to experience a life where we grow, we learn, we work, and we do all of it within a protected environment because of justice. Justice is the safety and security that we need to be as productive in our work as we can be. Our work is vital to our growth and to do the things that God has called us to do. Our work requires us to learn and to grow. Our work offers us the opportunity to gain possessions such as land and cars and clothes and many other things. Our government in America is tasked with ensuring that we can freely work in an environment that is safe and secure. That is the primary role of government. And at times, for example, under Joe Obama's administration, the government completely failed us. Not only did inflation rise dramatically and force us to pay wildly more for the same things that we paid much less for the week prior, but we also had to work and earn in an environment that was not as safe and secure as it could have been and as it once was. So to summarize, I would say that we do not have liberty as it was designed if we are not safe and secure, able to work, and able to enjoy the fruit of our labors. I would also say that liberty is truly unique to America, and those of us that have lived the American dream have truly experienced something that so few others in the entirety of the existence of the world have been blessed to experience. Let me close with telling a story. There was a man that lived by the sea with a beautiful wife, and he had a small taco stand where he made the world's finest tacos. Another man visited from New York City, and upon trying the tacos, he worked to convince the man that lived by the sea to move to New York City to open a taco stand to make wild amounts of money. When the man by the sea asked why he would want to do such a thing, the man from New York City said that he would most certainly want to do this so that he could build a company and franchise his brand while making a lot of money so that someday he could afford to be able to buy a vacation home by the ocean and to live in peace with his beautiful wife. The man that lived by the sea said that he already owned the property by the sea. He did what he loved every day with the love of his life. The point here is that we can individually experience liberty if we move to the beach in some remote location and we have the financial ability to support ourselves for the duration and we have a spouse or family that is willing to join us. Sure, we can do all of that. But if we were to try to design a society where we wanted liberty to be able to be experienced en masse by the entirety of society, literally millions of people, all at different skill and financial levels, then they are going to need to develop a structure that is able to support it. That is what we have been blessed with in America. As you look at the left in America today, they do not want to give liberty which transcends income, structure, ability, intellect, and relationships. In other words, they don't think that the poor people can be happy as they trust God and experience liberty. They don't think that young people or crippled people or people that are not incredibly smart can experience liberty. The idea of socialism ignores all of this, and in so doing, they also ignore God's individual plan for our lives. They believe that everyone must be equal in every way, equal mentally, physically, financially, and in the way that we live, and in the things that we do for pleasure. We must all be equal. We must all be the same in their minds. I will also say that people think that socialism is not a real threat because socialists really want communism. But that's a lie. Socialism is the elephant in the room. It is what they want and it is their goal. Communism does not exist and it never has. Communism, by definition, is a utopia beyond socialism that is always projected as the big threat to protect what they really want, which is socialism. Communism has never existed. Communism is when the government ceases to exist because socialism has gone so well that the government no longer is necessary. Many have used the threat of communism to simply drive a dictatorship or more socialism. They would tell you that once everyone is equal, then the government is no longer needed. That sort of thinking is broken in so many ways, which is why it has never happened. Many have worked feverishly to destroy the thing that is one of our greatest gifts, and they have made a lot of headway in recent years. Many are standing up, as I am, to defend the thing that is most cherished by us in this God-given life. I am thankful for those with the foresight and the fortitude to stand at such a time as this. God bless America.